bones of your back are probably a lot cooler than you think they are. And if you know what to look at, you'll be able to see why I think they're so cool. So first off, this region here is what's known as the cervical region. Now, cerv actually means neck, and that's going to be your neck. But then we're going into the thoracic region. And how you know you're in the thoracic region is because the ribs are going to attach to the thoracic vertebrae. So as soon as we get to the last or 12th rib here, we now know we're in the lumbar region, of which there are going to be 5, typically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's backwards. It's really L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. But the thing you want to focus on are actually going to be these joints here. These joints are where the articular facets are at. So these are called the facet joints, and they actually dictate the range of motion. So if you're looking here, this is the connection between the one lumbar vertebra and then the one below it. But they're in the sagittal plane. So what happens is they only allow for this type of movement between the vertebrae, which is why the lumbar vertebral column is actually specialized for flexion and extension. You can do some rotation, but it's specialized for that. Now, if we go up into the thoracic region, I want you to look at this transition point. So you can see that the joints are going to be aligned in that sagittal plane. Sagittal plane, all of a sudden, boom. We are now switched. I don't know if you'll be able to see this all that well, but the facet joint is now actually in the coronal or frontal plane. And what that means is the thoracic region is actually specialized for lateral flexion, so tilting side to side. In fact, you can try this at home right now. You can't actually flex your thoracic vertebral column. And partially the ribs are going to get in the way, but primarily it's because of the orientation of these facet joints. And then if we come up here to the cervical region, you're going to see that it's now angled in more of that transverse or horizontal plane. And this is where you're going to get rotation, which is why the neck can actually turn 90 degrees. So you can actually bring your chin to being directly over the acromial aspect or your acromion here. So, I mean, and what's really cool is 45 degrees of that range of motion is actually going to be located up here in between C1 and C2, and then the other 45 degrees are created with the other cervical joints. But it just goes to show that the bones of your back are actually really cool, and there's a lot of information all packed inside of just how the bones are shaped.